We now have two.
Recording in progress.
I want you to please find your, on the hymnals, you'll see two cards, and we're going to be using both of those. So, thank you, Mother, Father, God, for bringing us all together. As we come together, we open our hearts in gratitude for this space and opportunity for friendship and our connection to Spirit. And with this, we say, thank you. And now we'll turn to our, in our hymnal. What? Oh, we're going to do two songs in a row. The first one is Let There Be Peace on Earth, which is on your card.
Also number 3 in the Wings of Song book.
And then we'll do number 305. Now, number 305, we'll sing the first two verses, please.
For the beauty of the earth. All right. It's neither. 305. Okay. B flat. Oh, there we go.
Thank you all. And now, looking for your on your cards, we'll read our principles together. And we can stand to do these, please. We believe God is the eternal source and creator of all and is present in everything. Our eternal soul, endowed with free will, grows through many lifetimes. Communication occurs between the physical and spiritual worlds. Prayer and meditation strengthen our connection to the divine. All healing comes from Source. Seeking this for ourselves and compassion for others' suffering is the highest priority. Because we are all one, what we do unto others, we do unto ourselves. The choice of love is always open for every soul. Living these principles leads us to grow in divine love. And thank you. And while we're standing, if you would repeat after me our 3 affirmations. Joyful teamwork is our way. Joyful teamwork is our way. Listening kindly is our path. Listening kindly is our path. We are in renewal together. We are in renewal together. Thank you all. You may be seated. Now, we have our healing bowl here, and this is a time we bring prayers for our community and for any individuals that want to bring a concern forward. We will add it to our prayer in a moment. So does anybody have anybody or anything that you would like us to pray for today? You can stand and speak.
I'd just like us to pray for our world, our city, our state, and for everybody here. The prayers that go to the universe that hears everything. And thank you for the light and love we all can be together.
Thank you, Jerry. Jerry's asking for prayers for the whole world and for all that we do together and the universe that listens to all we say. Thank you, Jerry. Anybody else have a prayer they'd like us to bring forward or a concern?
I do.
Thank you.
I'd like a prayer for Ann. She's house sitting for her kids, and she had chickens to take care of, and something got after them. And she doesn't know exactly what happened, but it's caused pain for her. And so for not only Ann, but everyone who has a loss and perhaps some violence done to them that they don't understand and they want some help with. So.
Thank you, Kathleen. This is a big story. I'm repeating it for our Zoom audience. And it is that Anne had chickens in her care of her children as she's house sitting, and something got in and hurt them. There's devastation of some kind there.
And it happens to everyone in some way or another.
And indeed, it happens to everyone in some way or another that trauma comes, pain comes, violence comes, and we want to hold that in our prayers. Thank you, Kathleen and Anne. And Steve.
We have a request for prayers for Mary McPherson, who's getting a bone transplant.
Thank you. And I have prayers asking for Stephen Arculari, an old friend who has had a broken neck that I just found out about, and they just asked me to bring it to this church's prayers. And also with diabetic sores on one of his feet that they hope to save because they want to keep his leg. So that would be for Stephen Arculari. And I would add to what Jerry said about the earth is that this is a time on earth where we want the planet herself, as Jerry mentioned, and all of humanity to feel the love for each other and to feel the opportunity for our growth together as a human race for peace, love, and understanding. And is there anyone else that would like to bring a prayer forward? Well, then we turn to our bowl, and we know that the healing bowl has many prayers written on it, and we can at any time, any day of the week, with our intention, place a prayer in our healing bowl. I did it this week with Stephen Artillery, and I felt the energetic activity of this bowl. It is alive and active for us at all times. So even now, you may place a concern, a prayer, a gratitude into the bowl. And now, we will take some moments in prayer together, silently, on our own. Now, as you stay peaceful, we will have our song on page 74, In the Silence, as we lead into our healing meditation, which Sue will lead us in. Page 74 in Wings of Song.
Take a nice, deep, deep, healing breath. Deep down, deep, deep down. Breathe very deeply and release. Take another healing, relaxing, deep, deep breath. And release. As we continue to breathe deeply, healing, deep breaths, relaxing, deep breaths, relax your entire physical body. Let your feet rest gently on the floor. Allow your legs to just sit quietly on the seat. Allow your arms to relax. Allow your hands to do what feels comfortable. Let your shoulders drop. Release anything that has been weighing on you and your shoulders lately. Soften your neck. Allow your neck to release tension. Unclench your jaw. Allow your mouth and your jaw to relax. And bring your face to resting position. And turn off the noise in your head. Allow it to be still and quiet. Make sure to take those deep, deep breaths and release everything. As you think about life in general, as you think about yourself, we have many feelings and emotions that run through us in a singular moment. In a singular moment, we can go from being happy and joyful and peaceful. And the next moment, we can be asking ourselves, why did this just happen? What's going on? We have all kinds of questions with no answers. And how we deal with those questions is key to our survival in peace and harmony. We can respond in anger and frustration, or we can respond with peace and prayers towards what has just happened. Maybe it's the person in traffic who pulled out in front of you. I know I react multitude ways, and I'm working very diligently on using prayer and peace for that person. We don't know their day. They don't know our day. It isn't intentional. It isn't because they don't like us. We know that deep down. We can react to that with the fact that we know they may be in pain. Sometimes we feel a little trapped. Sometimes we wonder who we are. Sometimes we wonder, where are we going? What are we supposed to be doing? Sometimes we feel like we're overshadowed. But deep down inside, every one of us is like a small gem waiting to be found and exposed. We are beautiful. We shine. We have inner glory. We have an inner light that we need to excavate. We need to chip away at the stones around, or what it's buried under, digging it out of the sand, so to speak. Whether we fully embrace our own beauty and light and love depends on us. We need to continue daily, hourly, sometimes secondly. Every second of the day, we need to listen to our inner self and say, I do love you. I can see your brightness. and I will help you to shine. We need to heal ourselves and help ourselves do what we know we really can do deep down inside. So as we come back to this time and this place and this space, gently, as we come back with each deep breath you take, chip away and expose more of that beautiful gem that you are. So take a nice deep, deep breath and express what's been chipped away. Send it away. Push it away. Find that beautiful, deep inner self of yourself. Take another deep breath. And as you do, wiggle your fingers. Wiggle your toes. Feel yourself within this time and place and space. Feel yourself returning to this time and period of grace. Bring yourselves back slowly, gently. And as you come back in time and space, you can open your eyes and see how beautiful and brightly this room is shining with all of the beautiful gems that are sitting here today. Namaste.
Thank you, Sue. That was beautiful. And now, I would like to have Kathleen please come up and stand with me for a moment. Kathleen is our speaker today, and I'm looking for my bio for her, and I have it now. But Kathleen used to live in Duluth. She's done a lot of things. She's done the East Coast and other places in Duluth, and she's been involved with children and families for so many ways and years and in very spiritual ways. So that's not on the bio that she wrote me. But now she lives near La Crosse on a little cliffside cottage, clinging way up above the Mississippi, near La Crosse, and she has a street ministry in Viroqua, which, if you know Viroqua, it's kind of the Madison and Duluth of the Southwest Wisconsin. Right?
It's a lot like Duluth.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, a lot of new thought and
Artists.
beautiful artists, okay?
Organic farms.
Yes, and there's a sister of my friend back there in the back
Nice.
who lives there. And I visited Viroqua for a workshop on new ways to think about spiritualizing money in the early 80s.
All right.
And so that was already happening. And her street ministry in Viroqua is for Fifth Dimension, 5D support group that meets there every few weeks to offer encouragement and to practice with our ever-expanding energetic skills as the earth changes. And she'll be bringing us some practical suggestions for that, and the new energies that have come in with the solstice just this last Wednesday, and the ongoing ascension of our earth. So welcome, thank you, Kathleen. And I want to also add, this beautiful saxophone here is hers. So she's also going to play with Anne, an extraordinary pianist who is also a piano teacher.
And a doctor, physician,
Oh, and a physician.
here in Duluth.
You might want to even say a few more words around her. And So we thank you for being here today as our speaker, and in this case also our player and bringer of music.
Thank you, Carolyn. Oh, can I borrow that for a second?
Sure, you can keep that.
It's so wonderful to see all of you. You've been so dear and ever present in my heart. I always send love and light from the Mississippi up north, and I feel like you're connected and through by way of Itasca. And so Duluth, since we're everywhere all at once, I'm here too, and you're down there too, enjoying yourself. Jerry's fishing in the Mississippi. We're gonna, before I start talking, I wanted to say I love your new layout. And so just looking here at everybody with more space, this is an invitation for you to really allow yourself to expand. So will you let your light, I mean, so many times have anybody felt like you had to shrink when you're out in the world to navigate? It didn't maybe feel safe to be who you are because you're bigger than Duluth. So let yourself be free here. You're safe and you're beautiful. And with that wonderful meditation, go forward and backwards as far as you want, and side to side and up and down. I'm so grateful to see Miss B here. You have no idea. She helped me. I don't know if you remember, I had a little church up on the hill in the graveyard, which the children love to play in. And Miss B was exceptional. She's a master teacher with children. And I loved that. We had a relationship even then. There was no competition. You know, there's plenty of work for us all to do, or play, I should say. So anyway, really revel in this space and allow yourself to be all that you are, because you're magnificent. And when you breathe in, really allow yourself to breathe deeply all of Source's love for you, because then you can breathe it out to everybody else. So we're going to start so that you can dance if you want to. We're going to start with the blues because it fits so wonderfully with what we're talking about. It was so lovely the way our task right now, we're really in this challenging moment of two energies, right? Side by side, that's what my talk is about. And one is the old way, which was trauma and abuse and violence and misunderstanding and separation and chaos. And while for the human, it was very uncomfortable, it's very important for us in our evolution to learn about that. And we've had a lot of time through many lifetimes of learning, you know, what is my relationship with you? Do I want to hurt you? Does it hurt me too? And so we've wrestled with that, and we're still wrestling with it, right? I mean, Anne's situation and everything that you brought up is an example of that. And at the same time, we have available to us this new way of being in the world where we can elevate our frequency so that we can kind of rise above it, you know, like mist. I like to think of water, you know, 3D is ice cubes, and we're plunking around in that cocktail glass. And then we move into water, which is kind of 4D, kind of like, oh, maybe there's a new way. And we want to get to 5D, which is the steam. I see the steamboats up and down the river, and they chug along, and that's what we can do. So let's practice being mist today, and then you can help those ice cubes warm up. So we're going to start with the blues, because to me that's a really good example, because it came out of what? It came out of suffering. It came out of profound human oppression and displacement and loss and misunderstanding and greed and, you know, all the things that are so toxic to us, but we had to learn about to realize that wasn't our way. And fortunately, those that brought us the blues, among themselves, they had enough inner wisdom and strength, they were masters really, to recognize, oh, hi Carolyn, is that Carolyn in the back? Oh, nice. they had enough inner knowing with the help of their tight community that they knew, no, we're not what we're being told we are. We're not limited that way. And so we're going to celebrate who we are in uprightness and in joy. And they created the blues. So the blues are both profound grief and profound joy standing side by side. So feel free to dance if you want to. It's hard to sit for the blues. Okay, and we'll play one more so that you can get in your heart for our visit together. And I'll do another no, I won't. I think I'll save that. You'll know this song, but it's all about what is love. And again, it's the whole holding seemingly contradictory truths, seemingly polar opposites that are really just different colors of a much greater whole. And they don't have to fight. Red doesn't have to fight with blue. We can coexist and discover that, red has something to teach me and blue has something to teach me. And I'm going to stand in the middle and be neutral and learn what I can from both, right? You'll know this song. So while we play it, maybe think about what love means to you. My first note. Let's see here. No, it's not F, D. I had to memorize everything, so I said, Dan, this is crazy. Both of us, we go in the other room and we can't remember why we went in there. Has that ever happened to you? And I'm trying to remember a song and what key it's in and how many sharps and flats, but I'm letting God play today. Oh, it's so wonderful to be able to talk with you because I don't have to translate anything. Sometimes when I go to other groups who haven't maybe been exposed like you have to all the wondrous miracles of what this life is about, I have to translate. And you know, our language is really difficult because it's so grounded in 3D. We need a new language. We need a more expressive language, a bigger language, a cosmic language. So some of my language might be a little clunky, so I'm doing my best. But if anybody has some suggestions, just raise your hand and call them out for me. I'd appreciate it. So what I wanted to start with is to say, and this is what I want us to really trust, and each of us has to ask ourselves, do I really trust this? Because if we don't trust it, then we got some healing to do, some nurturing of ourselves to do. And that is, when you know how to work life, life actually works. And we don't always trust that. Life doesn't have to be difficult. How do you react to that? The difficulty of life was by design. But we don't have to play in that playground anymore. As crazy as it sounds, this paradigm that we've been living under for thousands and thousands of years is self-destructing, and we can see that, right? And it has to break down, because how are we going to rebuild it? We can't, you know, what is that saying? You can't keep doing this. That's crazy to do this same thing but expect different results, right? What's challenging for those of us sitting here and anybody who's listening later on is that we came here during this transition to help rebuild, but in the meantime we have to learn the new tools ourselves so that we can be an example. And so we're the pioneers. I think of us as the first and second wave. This may be a 1,000-year process, and they're going to look back at us. When you get discouraged, they're going to look back at us in the way we do and say, how did they do it? How did those pioneers get from the East Coast to the West Coast with all the obstacles? How did we move from third D limitation and trauma and dysfunction and selfishness and narcissism? How did we move into peace and joy and love and abundance? We're doing it one step at a time. So as you know, there's two different fields of energy. Well, there's, you know, infinite numbers of frequencies, but right now they're coexisting, and one is a low vibration and one is a higher vibration. And each of us gets to choose where we want to hang out, but it takes some practice, because when we were born, we were like little sponges, right? And we looked at everything around us and listened to everyone and absorbed how we were taught life worked. And they did the best they could. That was what they knew. But now we have the miracle of knowing that there's something more. You knew it even as a child, right? You knew there was something greater. And it's not going to be done for us. This is an alchemical process. You know, we are turning coal into gold, into diamonds. Now, what complicates is what Anne experienced and other people who've had trauma recently, is that there are those beings who are so traumatized themselves that they've forgotten that they're a fractal of Source. And they've forgotten that that's the energy center. And they think the energy center is outside somewhere in the world, whether money or sex or having power over someone or getting back at somebody. And so they're doing everything in their power to accumulate wealth and power to prevent us from stepping into our true selves, right? So our task is to really bring in that spirit in an embodied way into the very atomic center of our beingness. And, you know, in the past, masters had to leave but we're the masters that are staying. Any questions so far? Be sure to raise your hand if there's something I say that triggers something in you. It could be an observation of what you've seen in the world. So the task now is, how do I receive the transmissions? Because you're noticing what's happening with the solar flares, right? Used to be, I mean, this is science. You can look it up. There's research stations all over the world that measure the solar flares. In 2018, we rarely got an M-class flare. That's the electronic radiation that empowers us. Now we can get 10 M-class flares a day. That's a lot of radiation. That's good. It's stimulating, activating our DNA. Then from the Earth, the Schumann resonance, right? Have you been following that? Do you remember what it used to be? It used to hang out around 7.5 hertz. That's the magnetics. That's the love energy from the Earth, her heartbeat. And, you know, our consciousness is affected. It used to be 7.5 hertz. Do you know what they just registered before I came up to Duluth in Italy? And every area is a little different. Italy, it was 50 hertz. In Russia, it was 100 hertz. So if you're feeling dizzy, or you're having trouble sleeping, or you feel like you stuck your finger in a light socket, or on the other extreme, you're exhausted and you don't want to get out of bed, or you're confused, or your vision is blurry, it's not a medical condition, probably. It's probably your reaction. Our bodies are literally transmuting and becoming light bodies. We're moving from Homo sapien to Homo luminous. And this is, I mean, how exciting that we get to experience that. But most people don't know that. So we're going to lead by example, right? As you start sparkling, and all of you are already, you'll help others. You can just be in the room and they'll catch it. This is the truth that I want you to really honestly ask yourself if you believe it. God or source or all that is, whatever name you want to use, conspires in my favor if I allow it. That's the important last bit, if I allow it. Do you believe that? So many people, and all of us in moments, doubt that. And so that's what we want to practice, is to catch ourselves when we're reacting from past trauma, rather than clearing that, saying thank you for the lesson, and knowing truly in your bones what that lesson is about, but then clearing it, not just sending it out, but to give it to God to be transmuted into goodness and, you know, energy for something positive. It's no wonder that we doubt it, because for so many lifetimes, those beings that wanted to get energy from us rather than seek it from source, they did everything they could to deny our well-being. They didn't want us to thrive because that was threatening to them, right? I mean, you can imagine, if you're a being who's trapped in a frequency of fear, and the only pleasure you get is through taking from somebody else, you can't enter into the higher frequencies. So really, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. But we don't have to be there. What we didn't know about that we're discovering now is all the deceitfulness, all the covert activities that we weren't aware of, that had pretty language, that disguised what was happening behind the masks. The narcissistic personalities who looked pretty and had charisma and seemed beautiful, but who actually, behind the scenes, were doing not such nice things, and had created secret communities that had everything about them as their focus, but not for your well-being and mine. And I don't want it to sound like us versus them, because we participated. In every lifetime, we practiced the very same things until we discovered that's not what we wanted anymore. So they just haven't figured that out yet. But we've done it, and they've been a mirror for us, right? So that can open up some compassion and empathy for the things that we might be the most afraid of. It's just contrast. And the thing that was a surprise to me and for everybody that I've talked about with this, you know, do you ever look to the angelic realm or to heavenly realm and think, wow, that must be awesome? You know, no fighting, no lack, no judgment. Do you ever think that? Do you know that they look at us and they're in awe of us? Because think about it, with the higher the frequency, the smaller the band is. It's compassion and bliss and ecstasy, but they don't have any darkness. So it's in a certain sense, a way of looking at it, it's a little more narrow, and they look at us because we're in the lowest, and in the lowest there's every contrast. The worst of the worst and the best of the best. And they look at us and they go, wow, what a rich experience. That's why we all clamored to get here. Even God, I mean, it sounds blasphemous, but God, wanting to know all there is, had to allow all that is to know about all that is, right? So they're like, wow, you learned about violence. That's amazing. And every time we have an experience like that, when we work through it and learn the positive from it, it increases the wisdom of the entire galaxy. The whole universe is enriched because you only learn through experience. That's the way it works. So we are not only the bravest of the brave, but we are awesome beings. If we can stand in the middle ground, recognize our power, and see the richness in what's being brought forward. It wouldn't come forward if it didn't have something to offer each of us in some unique manner that we can use to increase the wisdom of everything. Isn't that awesome? So all that is wants to help us to activate all that is within each one of us. So I want you to imagine that your life is a blank canvas. So here's the practical example. I mean, there's so many, but we only have time for one, right? And I listen to a lot of channelers. Do you ever listen to Lori Ladd? Anybody listen to Lori Ladd? Oh, she's wonderful. Anyway, she brought through a being, and he said, an archangel, and he said that the biggest task right now is that, you know, the etheric has been cleared of all the beings that are tried to interfere. The astral world has been cleared. It's all good. All that's left is the human domain. But the humans haven't woken up to that. So because we are such creator beings, we're creating what we've done, what we've experienced in the past. So we're the ones that are creating the trauma. There is no big energy from outside of us anymore. So now what we have to recognize is, when do we do that? So we can free ourselves of that and help others be freed of that. So he said to get humanity to stop reacting from the past and recreating it, because have you ever felt like we're in a loop? Does it ever feel like that to you? Like we're repeating and we're stagnant? To get humanity to stop doing that, he said, is like pulling a human body out of quicksand. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So let's have this clear, clean, expansive canvas. In the past, I'm going to compare it to like painting in black and white. So we've got all these black and white tools that we used to use, charcoal and ink, and we have ink pens and, you know, charcoal pieces of different sizes. And we used to draw beautiful things, right? And horrendous things in black and white. But we don't want to do that anymore, because over here on the right is 5D and above. All these vibrant colors, heavenly colors you can't even imagine, sparkling and living and breathing and moving and magnificent. And we have amazing tools to grab and paint on this new canvas, but we've never experienced what it looks like. Are we doing that, or are we going back to the black and white? Most people are turning to the black and white. And now, as things get more intense, right, and they get fearful, money collapse, or the educational system getting crazy, or government doing, you know, threatening wars and all this, I mean, it's insane, right? Are you going to turn to something you don't know, something unfamiliar? Are you going to trust that? Probably not. People tend to circle around the wagon, right, when they feel under attack. And then we're just going to stay in the same swamp. So let's start catching ourselves when we react, when you have a knee-jerk reaction, you know, or you think, do you ever like micromanage to be safe? Do you ever like, when you get up in the morning, do you think, oh boy, what miracles are going to happen today? I can't wait. Do you think that? Or do you think, oh God, I got to prepare for the left, you know, the other shoe to drop? Right? Do you ever get good things and you think, well, something's going to happen to take it away, right? My husband used to say, life is what happens after you've made other plans. You know, like you can make all the plans in the world that are great, and then it's going to rain and spoil it. Well, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So here we have this canvas. We're going to create our lives and our communities. So look at your life, and are you going to draw what's familiar? Or can you sit, do you feel comfortable sitting in the void? Because that's the only place the unknown is going to come forward. It's not going to come forward from the past. Do you believe that you can have your wildest desires fulfilled? Or you think, I don't have enough money. I mean, that's why I started doing music with Ann. I called her and I said, should we do some music? We haven't played in 10 years. And I wouldn't have done it. I was going to put my horn away. Carolyn's heard this story already, but I'll tell it if it's okay. I thought, all right, I'm going to have a channeling session with Jill Cole. I don't know. Do you ever listen to Abel Weinman on YouTube? She studied with... who's the gal that was into galactic stuff originally? I'm having a senior moment. No, the one that, well, it doesn't matter. She did hypnosis, and then people were constantly revealing their past lives and their galactic... Dolores Cannon, yeah. Anyway, Abel Weinman studied with her, and so she's doing the same thing. Well, Jill Cole is her partner. And so she's in New Zealand. So I thought, she's known to bring forward masters. And so I thought, well, I'll ask them if I should give my horn away. And because I hadn't touched it for 2 years. And Jesus allegedly came forward and said, no, I want you to play. Everything is vibration. People don't understand that. So send our love, the cosmic love, through your horn and bathe people. And it doesn't matter if they understand it. But they'll get it. They'll breathe it in. They'll feel it in their body. And so that's why I called Ann, and she was willing to do that. And she does that with the piano. And you do that in everything you do. So, so check yourself through the day. Am I reacting from the past? Or am I allowing what I don't know? For most of us, the void is very uncomfortable. It's boring. Peacefulness is boring until we go deeper. We're so used to action and drama, trauma. Don't you go on the internet and look up stuff and what's happening next? It's really interesting. It's fascinating. But the void isn't fascinating. the void is still. And then if you can get used to that, then you'll start hearing what your real soul's desire is. And you won't be in your ego anymore, or your intellect. So that's what we got to practice. So you'll know when you're at your soul's purpose when what you love, you can't wait to do next. And most of us have said, I'll do it when I retire, or I got to do this and this and this first, right? But the void will give you permission to do it. And then the question is, will you trust that you'll be able to survive doing that, right? And that's the way we're going to create the new world that you've always dreamed of. So I'll just end with saying you are a miracle walking. And let's remind everyone else that they are a miracle walking as well. All right, we're out of time, so let's end with, do you want,
Stand here by you.
huh?
Go away. I'm just going to stand here by you.
Okay. Do you want, Can You Feel the Love Tonight for the ending song? Or do you want
wanna do this song,
Hallelujah?
folks? I do.
Do you want Hallelujah, or Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
We're so close to on time already, so you just do.
Well, we'll just do just one. Maybe Can You Feel the Love? And because that's what I feel from you, and I thank you.
And we thank you. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. And now we will have our offering, people. And somebody please bring the baskets forward, maybe 2 people to bring it through both sides. And we will be finding our cards because we will be singing our closing hymn in the circle, and we will be having our church affirmation on the card. Come on forward. And Jerry, could you come forward for our prayer, please? Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I'm going to say it for us. Mother, Father, God, source of all that is, creator, thank you for this abundance. May it multiply to meet all our needs. In the blessed name of all humanity and the divine. Amen. And now, please, we will read our church affirmation on the card. We totally accept the belief that God is in charge of the affairs and direction of Lake Superior Interfaith Community Church. We know that as our thoughts of trust and joyful anticipation join in harmony with the thoughts of all members of this fellowship, we attract the right ministerial leadership to our spiritual community, and we are grateful. Thank you. Let's gather in our circle. You can start, Carol.
We need a benediction.
Oh, the benediction. Yes. Here, I have a benediction for us. May the road rise up to meet you, meet us. May the wind be always at our back. May the sun shine